Welcome in to First Take. It's Thursday. We have a whole squad of people coming through. I'm Christine Williamson, Alan Hahn, Jay Will. How are we doing this morning? You guys are throwing pins at each other.
It's fired up today. Well, we got a lot to talk about today.
Sitting so high?
Because I got two cushions on today because I need to feel tall. I'm in Stephen A's chair. I need to feel big.
I like
it's
that.
a power chair.
Yeah, power.
Bring it.
Yes.
So we got a lot of playoff talk coming at you. We have the WNBA starting tomorrow, so we're going to talk about that. Monica McNutt's coming through. But we're going to start things off in the association, gentlemen, and the game that we got last night. Jimmy Buckets dominated yet another postseason game, scoring 35 points, racking up 7 assists, 6 steals, and 5 rebounds in Miami's 123-116 win over the Boston Celtics. On the other side, Jason Tatum had 30 points but didn't take a shot in the fourth quarter and had 3 of his 4 turnovers in the final 3 minutes of the game. Jaylen Brown, how do you feel about the loss?
Give credit to Miami. They came out and outplayed us from jump. They were more physical and they outplayed us. They shot the ball well. And, that's how they won the game, especially in that third quarter. And we got loose with the ball, et cetera, but we got to be better.
If you go back all the way to that night against Chicago in the play-in, did you think then that something like this would be possible?
Damn right. I did. Damn right. We did. And the best part about it is we still don't care what none of y'all think, honestly speaking. We don't care if you pick us to win. We never have. We never will. We know the group of guys we have in his locker room. We know that Coach Spo puts so much confidence and belief in each and every one of us. Coach Pat as well.
All right, so the game turned completely on its head in the third quarter as the Heat outscored the Celtics 46-25. The 46 points allowed for the Celtics was their second most in any playoff quarter in franchise history. Jay, well, I'm going to start with you because I know you like what Jimmy Butler just said.
I love
Are
it.
you
Love it.
more impressed?
I'm so I don't allow
Jimmy
people
Buckets?
I don't like people wearing my number 22 that I had in college. Jimmy,
But you
wear
let
that
him
all
do it.
you
You
want.
let him do it.
That's
Yeah, yeah.
actually that's your number. Respect.
Or Jason Tatum.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Jimmy Buckets or Jason Tatum? Who are you more disappointed in, Jason Tatum?
Am I more impressed with Jimmy Butler or am I more disappointed in Jason Tatum? Let me say this. The whole world has overlooked the Miami Heat. The whole world. But the reality is that they are going to continue to be the underdog in every game. When you have 7 undrafted players on your team, when you don't have Tyler Hero, when you don't have Victor Oladipo, even though they've beaten the number 1 seed in the Milwaukee Bucks, even though they've beaten the Knicks, they're still not going to be favored. That's the reality of the world that we live in. Are they the better team? I think right now they're playing their best basketball. And Jimmy Butler is one of the most special players we have in the game of basketball. In the game of basketball. So I just want to pay respect off the top. But I am disappointed in a guy that is part of our brotherhood. And I love Jason Tatum as a player. I think he's one of the most dynamic players the game of basketball has. They are more talented on paper than the Miami Heat. Jason Tatum, there's no way in hell, Alan, in hell, he can have 4 shots in the second half. 4 shots in the second half. 0 field goals made in the fourth quarter and 3 turnovers. He is coming off a 51-point game in Game 7 against the Philadelphia 76ers. Game 7 is the most points scored in the Game 7 in the history of the NBA. By the way, the game before that, Game 6, he had 16 points in the fourth quarter. This team goes the way Jason Tatum goes. But I'll give you another example because this is where I put the onus, a lot of this game on. We could talk about Joe Mazzulla and him not calling a timeout when they scored 46 points in the third quarter because that's another major mistake by Joe Mazzulla. But what was our biggest takeaway from Game 6 against the 76ers for Joel Embiid? A lot of people were saying, oh, Doc Rivers, how do you not get Joel Embiid a shot, yet alone a shot, a touch in the last 3 minutes and 56 seconds left to go in the game, right? And I'm sitting up there saying, okay, yeah, a lot of that is on Doc, but a lot of that's also on Joel Embiid. You're the star player. Everything comes through you. This is your time now. You have the knee situation for him, and you also have the situation allowing that he's a big, okay? And a lot of times bigs can't control where they touch the ball or not. Right. I push back on that and say you got to demand the ball, Joel Embiid. If I'm making that claim for Joel Embiid, I have to make that claim ×2 for Jason Tatum, because Jason Tatum initiates the offense. The ball is in his hands a ton. So there's no excuse on, well, I'm a big, I'm not really in control of the flow of the game or the coaches. Jason Tatum has every right to say, this is mine, I'm going to be aggressive. Now, you can give Miami a lot of love for their coverage and Jimmy Butler with the physicality of the game. But when we all know that he is the star, he is the guy, I need him to be way more aggressive in the second half. And 4 shots in the second half and 0 field goals made in the fourth quarter, unacceptable for a player of his caliber.
You can be disappointed in Jason Tatum, right? But to not come away from this game more impressed with Jimmy Butler, to me, like, you're overlooking the Heat, just like you said, and we all are doing. You have to look. Bart Scott, my partner on radio, uses this phrase that I always think of when I think of Jimmy Butler. You make your name in the regular season, you make your fame in the postseason. When we look at stars in the NBA, and I think we do this more than really any other sport, we don't care what they do in the regular season. What do you do when it matters most? When it's winning time? Do you drag your team over the finish line sometimes? Are you the force multiplier? Do you push them and make them better than they really are? Are you the +5 for your team? Jimmy Butler's all that and more. And he just proves it to us time and time again in these types of... They have won 6 straight game ones, Jay, because they start series and they punch you in the mouth. And he's right in the front. He's the guy that all these undrafted players, like, you go into the alley. I'll go into an alley with Bart Scott. You know why? Because I'm behind him. Because Bart comes in there with guns ablazing, and I mean guns. And I can stand behind Bart Scott and be like, yeah, I'm coming to fight, because that guy's on my side. That's what Jimmy Butler does to the Miami Heat. If there's ever been a more perfect player for Heat culture, it is Jimmy Butler. But that player also has Eric Spoelstra. And the two of them, again, Wonder Twin powers activate, and it turns into a team that can beat the Celtics, who are better than them, and get to the finals. That's what Jimmy Butler brings. And so in these games, when he walks in, I'm guarding Tatum. I'm shutting him down, and I'm making big buckets. I'm having those moments where Kevin Harlan is losing his mind on the call because it's so incredible to watch. That's why I'm more impressed with Jimmy Butler, because he just keeps doing it. And we're not talking about a guy who's 26, 27. He should be at the back end of his prime, but he's not. He has a chip on his shoulder every game for whatever reason. And that's, I think, it's special. So regular season Jimmy, meh. But playoff Jimmy, that's one of the best players in the league.
Oh, I agree. I mean, you can make a case that he's the best player in the league when it comes to the playoffs. I recognize that. What you did say, though, Alan, is that the Celtics are the better team. We're in agreement that we think the Celtics are the better team?
On paper.
On paper.
Yep.
This is my problem with the Boston Celtics. You know what you're going to get from Miami each and every night. Each and every night. I know that Miami is going to be the team that they're going to play every possession.
Right.
They're going to scrap. They're going to claw. By the way, Boston, we've seen this story before. You guys have played each other in 3 out of the 4 past Eastern Conference Finals. You know what type of effort it takes to beat this Miami Heat team. So we talked about this on Get Up, Alan. When you got Al Horford the day before in practice, like, yo, why are we so casual? Why are we so lethargic? What the hell is going on?
That's the problem.
So this has been my biggest issue with Boston. I'm looking at them saying, I know on paper you're supposed to be there. You have all the talent to be there. You should be there. But what about this team feels off? Last year, I'll say it again. Last year, Alan, I felt like I was watching a competition internally. Like, we all have competitions here within the sense of ESPN about who's most prepared, who's going to deliver the best content. That's how it should be. I want to be in an environment
iron sharpens iron
all day long. So last year I felt like, who's the best defensive player from the wing position? Is it Marcus Smart for the Celtics? He got Defensive Player of the Year in 2020. Is it Jason Tatum? Is it Jaylen Brown? Because I saw Jason Tatum strap up Kevin Durant, right? I feel like that's missing all of a sudden this year, where you're asking yourself questions about what is the identity of this team?
Too easy, right?
Is it Dr. Jekyll or is it Mr. Hyde? And that's why I feel like it's disappointing, because Just when you think they found it,
But
you're
that's
like,
again,
where'd it go?
But that's again what leads me back to Jimmy Butler and what he does. That he raises your level of competition, and you make like-minded guys, they all follow. Now, what happened when Ben Simmons had that? When Jimmy Butler's in practice and Ben Simmons is like, man, I'm not about that. I can't deal with this guy. And they had to make a choice. What happened in Minnesota when Karl Anthony Towns and company? They also right. but like think about it. Like they didn't like that in practice either. But in Miami, they embraced that. They love that. In Boston, why is it Al Horford that had to stop practice? Jason Tatum is considered. He just said humbly, I'm one of the best players in the world.
Can't be humble and be the best player in the world.
Thank you. Because if you're a guy who follows Kobe like he does, he loves Kobe. That's what's missing in Jason Tatum. Is the ability to walk into practice one day and let everybody know we're winning a championship this year. We are up here the whole time, and I'm not letting go. I'm not relenting. Michael Jordan did it. Kobe did it. Steph Curry does it. LeBron does it.
That's why I'm disappointed. Yeah. So I'm disappointed.
But that's what's you're saying missing element. We all want to look at Joe Mazzulla, a young coach. Is he over his head? No, it's your best player.
Agreed.
Is not a guy that is holding a standard up here from game one.